Cuties again. I mean, Jesus, what are you, out of content? The answer is yes. So you're probably like, oh god, well, why are you talking about Cuties? If you remember in the last video, I criticized a guy for supporting Cuties. Here's an entire video doing that. So after that, and because of that, I looked around to find more. And one person said, you really need to, watch the entire movie. So I did. Yeah, it's just child pornography. So, if you remember, that clip was from YouTube content creator Mr. Girl. What the? Whatever. So, you're probably like, well, he's just like everybody, defending Cuties. No. He says he was, sexually attracted to them. Hey, 911. Yes, what's your emergency? Yes, I found a pedophile. And here's how the video starts off. Hi, Cuties. Jesus Christ, that's almost as bad as mine. But what's even more disgusting is almost 1,000 people have liked it. To be exact, 912. And those are all the 12-year-olds out there. I have better news, though. 44,000 normal people disliked it. That's including me. So then he continues with, it's a solid film, it's a good movie. What? Wait, it's a solid film, it's a good movie. Jesus Christ. What the hell? It's a good movie. Jesus, that's like saying the Emoji Movie's a good movie, and we all know how that turned out. But also, it's a good movie? How? Okay, maybe if they actually focused on the B plot, which is her resisting her mother, okay, fine, it would, and cut out literally every scene that includes child sexualization. But until then, I'm gonna say it is the worst movie in 2020 so far. But according to the director, it's against child sexualization. But it loses all meaning if you do the exact same thing. That's like, say, murdering someone and then saying, oh, well, I'm anti-murdering people. I'm just showing what happens when you murder people. No, you're still a murderer. It doesn't matter if you're anti-murder. Then he continues with, this film tries to make you sexually aroused. Jesus, pedo. So it tries to make you sexually aroused. Sure, whatever. Even though the entire message, according to them, is to anti-child sexualization. But okay. But he then says something unforgivable. It does a good job at it. A film trying to make you sexually aroused does a good job at it with 11-year-olds? What the hell? Then, after that, he says, your mileage may vary. If I have a mileage, my mileage is in the negatives. After that, he says, as far as sexy music videos go, what does that have to do with the movie? Exactly, doesn't matter. It's not bad. You're saying it's a music video now? Gee, that's one long music video. I mean, I thought Michael Jackson's Thriller was long, but Jesus. Also, hey Susan, how does this exist? Then he says this amazing quote. Oh, trigger warning. You are a pedo, but still, you're very unfunny and disgusting. After that little thing, he says it's roping you in. The film is roping you in. The film is roping you in. What the hell? But then he says it's supposed to create awareness. Yeah, that's kind of like a rapist saying rape is bad and then going and raping someone. It's not good. It's also the exact opposite of what you're campaigning for. And also source needed, because pedophiles are definitely going to go watch this movie late at night alone and change and not be kitty touchers anymore. Oh, hey, I found one. I found fictional device. Um. Oh. 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 Ooh. So he went away from kids, but he went to his dog and dead people. Okay, after that, Strawman, he says, um, uh, take her art at face value. Art? Did you just say the word art? I think you did. As in, this has some sort of value. Maybe to kitty touchers, but that's it. So, he then says it's pretty interesting. How is it interesting? That this movie was actually published? That this movie was endorsed? How is it interesting? Interesting? He says it's he doesn't explain how it's interesting, but he says it's kind of like The Last of Us 2. Great game. Give me one example how The Last of Us 2 is about is similar to Cuties. Because they're both about the end of the world? Fair point. Then he says it's realistic, and he says, have you heard of the app TikTok? There's some pretty interesting stuff there. Oh, okay. I did an entire video off of this and how, TikTok. Here, I'll go plug it. Link in description if I remember. I really hope I do remember, because if I don't, I'm gonna look like an idiot, but okay. He then, further explains he's checked it out, and he says girls and guys are dancing like in the movie Cuties. 911, can I set up a sting operation? Just use TikTok and see who views it, and then get warrants for their arrest. Thank you. But there is a difference. Children are dumb and cannot consent. A study found that 8-year-olds are not able to differentiate between advertisement and non-advertisement. Even if it's saying, this is an advertisement, they can't differentiate that it wants to sell a product. Okay, if, think back when you were, like, 6, and you're watching TV or YouTube or something, and you see an ad, you're like, oh, hey, dad, mom, whoever, self, can I go buy this, please? Have you ever done that? That's because children are stupid. Okay, now, think of what would happen if you say, took that except with an 11-year-old. Do you think they understand? Exactly. So after that, he says there's a scene with the children dancing on a stage, and there's people frowning. He says that's the only thing saying that this is an inherently bad thing. I can confirm this is true. Now you're like, oh, are you complimenting him? No. He paints this as a negative thing, as oh my god, these boomers thinking that child sexualization is bad. I mean, Jesus. I mean, what does it take to convince people that, children doing explicitly sexual things is bad? But also, that was the message of the movie, even though, it kind of seemed like the exact opposite. Not to sexualize children. Not to do more of it. Okay, but there's actually some decent things in the movie, like she being in a Islamic family, and her, not being able to do what she wants. So she has to find a balance, but that causes conflict. See, basic plot structure forming. We have main character wants what family wants, and they're in two different directions. So she has to make sure that they intersect, but she can't just have one of them dominate the other. Got it? Basic plot structure. But instead it goes off the rails. But he also uses this thing as a saying, oh yeah, only one scene in the movie, had this message, so I guess my weird, creepy, disgusting fetish is okay. Then he says children are horny, and they want to accept that. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I can confirm this is true because girls at the age of 13 to 16 dress like sluts. No, seriously. If you're in middle school or high school or wherever school, go look at your local popular kids. I know you have them. Now compare them to a stripper. Um, I'm not saying they are strippers, but I'm not saying they aren't. And then he argues that it's a film about, that transition period. Hey, Chester the molester, you wanna go hang out with my preteen daughter? I mean, it's a transition period, right? So then he says, there's people who ignore her sexuality. No, they don't ignore it, they discourage it strongly. And probably correctly. I mean, they probably use too much force, but yes, they are correct. Then then he says something completely incorrect. I thought you watched the movie. Jesus. So he says, in the movie, she has to strip for her father to get her phone back. Now, you're saying, yeah, that happened. No, it doesn't. She has to strip for her uncle to get her phone back. I thought you remembered it. I mean, those are pretty major differences. This is a YouTube video. You can pause recordings. But also, him not knowing this tells me one thing. He didn't watch the movie for the plot. And isn't that what you were defending? Oh, what a shame. So he then says there is a scene with them shaking their rear on a stairway to get a viral video. Well, this is true. He then says this, and they're pretty hot. Then he says this. He says, I did not make them do that. That's their fault. I can go watch this, and it's their fault. Jesus, I can't take this anymore. You know what? Screw this. Okay, let's just go get my local thing. Ready.